Good morning, guys. So I wanted to make a live video since that's easier for me, and just kind of explain the process of delirium endgame. I'll make another video possibly after this, definitely before the next league 3.22, on how to start your endgame, more on the tier 1. But this video today is going to be based around the tier 16 maps and exactly what you want to do when you get to them to enhance them so that you can be earning a couple hundred chaos a map. I went over it briefly in one of my other videos, but it was more conversation piece with the people who are watching and less explanation. So today we're going to spend more time explaining exactly what to do with these 16 maps to make them really valuable. So we'll start out with the actual map itself. The tier 16 you farm matters. You want to do whatever one is appealing to you, whatever map you like, but that also has to be taken into context with which maps yield valuable loot. Um, if you want to do the apothecary farm, you need to be farming maps like Defiled Cathedral, Crimson Temple, things like that. If you want to go for some of the cards that are more common but less valuable than that, then you can farm ones like I like Cemetery and I like Toxic Sewer. Those are my delirium maps, my go-tos. These will all change in 3.22 as they're bringing in a new set of maps. And once that league starts, I will be doing that league from beginning to end. I'll pretty much be live streaming all of my sessions so people can follow along, see the things that I do, and kind of learn or get tips or whatever they want to do. But for today, we'll start with what's currently used map. So Cemetery. We'll grab this one here because it's completely clean, hasn't been touched at all. So when you get to the end game, you finish the story, your quests are done, and you're ready to do what's referred to as juicing, which is amplifying the difficulty and the payout of the maps. You grab your T16, base as is, third map here, Mine Cemetery. You're going to do your 4 chisels, 20%, always chisel. And then you're going to do a base alchemy. So the first thing you're going to do here is you're going to look at the roll. And you're going to go, are these mods all mods that I want? Or at the very least that I'm okay playing with? You need to know your build. You need to know what it can handle, what it can't handle. And that'll kind of give you a rundown of what to do here. So for my build, let's see, Desecrated don't matter. The extra damage really won't matter. Curses don't matter. The reduction of curse auras I don't like that. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You could scour it and realchemy it. I have plenty of scours. I have plenty of alchemies. Or you can just roll a chaos. It's about the same value, so it really doesn't matter. So we'll just put a chaos on there. Extra damage, again, doesn't matter. Ailments don't matter. I'm immune to them. Monsters steal charges. That's obnoxious, but not a big deal. And then abominations. We're fine with that too. So we'll keep this map. We're not going to be going into the super juices today. These are just starting out your tier 16. So you've got it like this, and you're good. So you'd essentially want to go into your atlas. You're going to set this up. Again, this is going to matter on what events you want to do, but you're going to amplify the tree and in however the events you want to do. And then perhaps you might change your setup or what you focus on. But for me, it's delirium. For me, it's delirium all the way 100%. And I'm going to do anything I can to amplify delirium because that's how I get to anywhere from 200 to 500 or more chaos map. I have blight, lots and lots of blight because it amplifies delirium. I have Exarch Altar because they amplify delirium and drops. I have Harbinger because again it amplifies delirium. And I have Ghosts, Spirits because it amplifies delirium. And you're kind of getting the hint here. Map device Scarabs, etc., etc. Anyway, when you're first starting out, you're gonna want to do mirrors for delirium. You're not gonna want to go straight into the delirium orbs here. You won't really have the currency to do this. If you do, then by all means, buy a bunch of delirium orbs from players. Always, 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 always divination, scarabs, which I'm out of, or currency. Most people tell you currency is not worth it. I disagree. I believe they're worth it. I've gotten lots of divines from these currencies. But those are the three I would say are worth it. And the idea here, if you're doing mirrors, then it is what it is. You're doing normal maps. You're not going to be coming in here and using these. You're just going to run the map like this. Then we'll come here, pop it. No, you're not going to do scarabs. You can, but it's not really worth it if you're doing the delirium orbs because you're not amplifying it well. But we'll show you just the normal maps. We go in, we've got our map. We do our sextants. Always apply sextant. Always. Do not ever do tier 16s without these sextants active. You will need to learn which ones are really good, which ones are valuable. It'll take time. But in general, make sure there's always sextants on here. The first two void stones down here are really easy to get. These two are a bit more difficult depending on your build and the amount of time you want to invest. I don't want to invest any time doing. So for me, I simply paid for a run, one divine each. I got my stones and about my life. But if you want to actually do the content, then by all means, get the Maven invitations, get the thing done, Maven, get the currencies, open up Uber, Elder, Eater, or Paper. Beat them, get your stones, normal way, and then just keep your sextants on there. Anyway, so once you have that, you can always do these. I don't like doing these because I don't feel like the payouts are worth it for what I'm doing as a farm. For other content, other farms, sure, why not? For mine, nothing here I find particularly good, so I don't want to put in the extra money. And that's it. You run the map. Once you're past the mirrors, the basic content, then you can start doing what I've done here. Like, all right, I'm ready. I've got money. I want to juice the maps a bit more. Same point. You've taken that at the same point. And you're going to slap a couple of these delirium orbs on here. 60% is usually safe for most builds. Don't want to go above that. You can certainly go below it. But 60% is pretty safe to run kind of as just a commonplace. You're going to come in here. You're going to get your scarabs. You need to always do these with scarabs. Preferably for my build, again, if you're doing different content, you can focus the scarabs for that content. For my specific content, it's going to be Harbingers, it's going to be Divination, it's going to be Gilded Blight. Blight that's gilded gives you 50% chance at additional reward per chest. Normal ones don't. Blights are fairly cheap, fairly easy to get from other players, so try to target those. The Divinations and the Harbingers are a bit less important. Divinations goes from 100 to 150. Sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And then the Harbingers goes from 3 to 4. Again, not a huge good, but not a deal breaker. Either polished or gilded is fine. We're going to take these, pop our map, pop our scarabs. Got our sextants, got everything set. Exarch here. Make sure that Exarch is active. Always make sure Exarch is active. These shrines are huge, especially since we're spec'd into them. That's all you need to do. Open it up. Then you're going to run the map. This is a very juiced map, not necessarily difficulty-wise, but it is a very juiced up map. It's valuable. There's lots of creatures. Going to be lots of drops, and you'll see that as we run this map. You will see all the different drops. And I play Wild Strike. There's a lot of on-game or on-screen mechanics, so the game is not going to. Once I've cleared out a bunch of the mobs, there won't be quite so many AoEs. The FPS won't drop as much. play a very tanky build. I can tank very large amounts of monsters. You guys saw that I still dipped quite a bit there. Varies based on the mobs, but it's usually not too bad. Go, first Harbinger is down. Clear the mobs around before we pick up the treasure. Death. And as you can see, lots and lots and lots of things. This was just the first group of monsters with a Harbinger. X10. Valuable loot from a filter. I'll go over some after this. Into the map after I show you guys. Kind of the full yield that a map will have. On delirium, make sure you're always getting these little white mushrooms. On creatures, do not want to leave them. Because if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you'll see that my delirium levels are currently 4. About to roll over to 5. Number of creatures you kill directly scales that. You need to kill as many creatures as possible. I said it in my other video, and I'll say it again. Never kill the end boss until the very end. The boss is worth a free level of delirium. Because I'm spec'd into it. So the boss, the last one you kill, because the delirium levels get harder and harder level. So if you're going to get a free level, you want it to be the highest possible. Okay, let's go look at our shrine. So these shrines, again, you're going to need to target which one is good for you in your build, which one won't kill you, as well as which one's going to amplify the map well. For me, Quant Rare is always good. Always, always good. But I don't want to be meteored. My flasks are on auto. I will forget about the meteor. I will kill my. Know this from experience. I will not do that one. Awaken Sextants on minion. Huge. Huge. I cannot explain how huge this is. Eldritch minions gain. Doesn't even matter because I'm elemental, but it wouldn't even matter if you were physical. You would still do this. 3% chance dropping Sextants. Every Sextant is worth between 5 and 7 chaos, depending on the period in the league you're in. It is a huge currency boost to the. There's one instant 5 to 7 chaos right there. Very first pack we kill. A huge part of a way to boost these in towards the from 200 up towards the 500. This one we got minions will drop greater eldritch, not grand, but greater. Graders are still good. Got a decent value. Boss doesn't give anything good, so we're gonna go with minion. Minions get extra damage. They drop some extra. Won't really be a big deal. Minions can be killed quick enough that they. Sextant. Just continue. I always do Cassie at the end, clear out the map. That way you've got full control over the area she's in. Another big boost though. The delirium level. Anybody checking this out likes melee builds though. Plenty of them in the game. They are not preferred. They are usually more dangerous. Being in melee means There are ways to mitigate that, though. You can see I get hit, but very rarely does it put me into a danger threshold, and very rarely will it kill me. There are things in the game that'll kill me, but far between. And you will likely see me die on the stream at some point, because I like to go into giant packs like this and just tank. I personally just don't really care. I don't want to be bothered with trying to hop around, kill things, tank them. I also like doing 12 to 15 strikes, you know, gameplay choices. As you can see, we're already killing our third Harbinger. Why I love Harbingers. They're massive amounts of monsters, tons of loot. They're just great for delirium, let alone their own ability to drop. But if you're checking out this video, then you can already see the huge amount of items we're getting. This is kind of the point, is to show you the value of delirium. Spec your tree into it. Barely into the map, done like maybe half of the map, or less even. Already have a full inventory. Third shrine, we've got minion scarabs, always good. Baubles. Down here we've got Divi card chance plus quantity rarity. That's much better. It's at the cost of Burning Ground, which I am immune to. So since these are rusted, I'm going to ignore them. We're going to go with the quant rarity and the Divi card dupe. And we'll just hope that it pays off. May or may not, who knows. That's our fourth or fifth sextant from that shrine mod. Give me one. So loud. I apologize. Don't kill me, meteor. Okay, that should fix that problem so that we don't have any more of that. Noxious windows. This kind of endgame farm's not hard. It's not the beginning either, though, and that's something that I want to stress is some builds will be able to jump right into this, other ones won't. It's going to largely depend on where you are in the game, how stable your build is, how much gear you have, the build you're playing. But once you get to tier 16 maps, like you'll farm mirrors for a little bit, delirium wise, if you do delirium, and then you can start doing these. You can get the orbs from either farming, but much easier route in getting them in bulk because you will burn through a lot of them is to buy them from. So you want to generate lots of currency so that you can use that currency to sustain Currency. More currency, more maps. More maps, more currency. Loop. But what you pay is not a fraction. Each of these maps, I probably invest about 30 to 50 chaos, depending. And the yield is hundreds. There's never a loss. It's always a gain. Go empty our inventory, and then we'll come back and mess. Fractures are another really good way to make money. Never leave them on the ground. If you don't know what bases are good, then identify all of them. If you do know what bases are good, then you know how to identify them already. You're always checking your fractures. They're very valuable. All right, so thicket bow is good. Scepters and staffs are always good because of the plus skills I can get. Goliath isn't bad. It's not top. I don't. Shields are always good to check. I mean, really anything can be good. Where I am in the game, I'm a bit pickier, but any of these could end up being really good for you. They could have a tier 1 stat and then boom, valuable. Just never know. A lot of ID. Nothing I feel is worth there. But make sure you do that when you get the fracture mobs. Remember, don't do the boss till the end. Delirium is a significant amplifier to the mob count. So, more mobs, more loot, more. I would normally have a bunch of jeweled foils stocked up. The league ends tomorrow, so I don't. But normally, I would just do this, and I would identify these, and then I would throw it into anywhere from a 50, 30, 20 chaos tab and let it sell. It's another big chunk of money every map. The swords will almost always come out between 20 and 50 chaos in value because people need to build those. Crucible's not going to be here next league, so obviously that won't be a thing you really need to worry about. My understanding is that it will be coming back in PoE 2, if not sooner. They didn't directly say so, but is visually in the trailer in one of them for PoE 2. So fairly certain that we'll see Crucibles return at some point. If you guys notice my health at 50%, one of these mobs right there, he has the 50% health thing, so you can jump away and let your health refill and then restart the fight. You can take it, go for it, fight him at 50%. I'm not comfortable doing that, so I will hop away, let it refill, and then fight. Always be careful that that mod is very dangerous. My mod now. Hold it. Circle around me now. Got us another shrine. Boss drops chaos orbs. Not really a big deal at this point. Got tons of those. Quantity rarity for a small reduction in flask. I'll take that. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass on Blight. Okay, so now we'll go to Cassia. Grab any shrines. I have double shrine. Use the shrine bonuses on my tree. Let's see how many vines the game gives us. That's awful. That is absolutely awful. I don't think the game. 5 vines, 5 portals. There. No. Just going to stand here and do the best I can. My build, there's no way. There's no way I defend. I will kill as many mobs as I can, simply because it helps delirium. There's no chance that I affect this away. I'll just sit on top of it, kill it again. Not gonna last long. When we get a 1 viner, 2 viner, pretty controllable. You get something like this where they're coming from 5 directions, unless you have a huge AoE spec like getting it at RNG. Then we go kill our boss, and then we clean up. The build is not a boss. A little bit slow on the boss. The boss's mechanic actually does damage, most don't. Not too big a deal. Totem calls him, and we go home. So, not a bad map, not a fantastic map. A couple hundred chaos and items we got there. Nothing good as far as random drops, though. No super valuable items. So that's basically it when it comes to juicing a large map. You know, like I said, basics of it is tier 16 map. Before tier 16, you want to chisel, okay, as long as it's red. I wouldn't chisel. I really don't bother chiseling until alchemy's everything. White, yellow, red, doesn't matter. That's your map. Farm it until you've got some decent gear. Once you've got some delirium orbs, you can start putting them on there, testing them. If you can handle a 20, great. 40, great. The goal is 60. Get your character strong enough to where it can handle 60s, and you will yield hundreds and hundreds. Then you can start targeting the maps that are really valuable because you'll have a high density of mobs. When you have a high density of mobs, you have a much higher chance of divinations, mines, as well as rarer cards. All kinds of things can drop once you get your mob density up. Quantity rarity. Why you see me targeting it with the quantity rarity is always super good. There are some other things that you target first, like sextants or raw chaos if it's a good choice. You know, that's more up to you. Now, we go a step back. before you get to delirium orbing, target mirrors. So I don't have the. Yeah, I do. I think I do. Left those. So if I run normal maps without delirium orb, I should get a fairly often. Stick with toxic sewers. We'll do just a. Yeah, why not? Didn't have sextants. Won't ever do that. Open a map. Terrible on me. But anyway, we'll go in here. We got no mirror. Fortunate. You'll get a mirror if you're set up right almost every. This time I did not. But farming on map under normal circumstances, very, very easy compared to a 60%. Not as difficult, not as many mobs, but it's still good, you know? If you've got that map, then you come in and you farm just like this. This is how you farm to work yourself towards that delirium orb farm. You come in, you kill them, collect all your loot that you can. Because right now, all I spent on this map was the map, 4 chisels, an alchemy. What? I used a couple scarabs, normally you won't. So I used the grand total of like maybe 10 to 20 chaos making this map. I'll get that back for the end of the map. But you can see how much easier this is. Much more stable map without. Want to target those extra map crafting options for it. Again, I just don't think they're worth it. Not for the type of farm I do, anyway. For anyone who doesn't recognize, I'm playing Wild Strike. It's probably the least known, least skill ever. I love it. I've been playing Wild Strike for about 8 years now. Don't think I will not play Wild Strike. I've dinked around with a few other builds. Just don't enjoy them as much. Taken a lot of work to get Wild Strike to where it actually works well and is tanky as it is, but I very much enjoy it. It's got a good balance. It's a little slow on bosses. Got amazingly good clear. Feels very good. Punch things in the face in melee. All in all, it's comfortable. I like it. Like it a lot. No good. This one's okay. Resist or consecrated ground. Both of those is minus resist and consecrated ground are both horrible. You have a higher damage build, then the consecrated ground will mean I'm in a tank build. Not going to do. Again, Crucible would have been worth 20 to 50. Ignore it, because ending don't care. Cassia. Notifications are still there. Harbinger. Okay, let's go find us a. Oh, you know what? I bet I used earlier the. That's fine. No big deal. Non-delirium, so the Cassia might be a little bit easier. We'll see. Too many vines. Of course. 5 vines again. Why? Why not? Uh, try our hardest. Yes, we don't think our trying will matter. We'll save you, my pump. No, get away from my pump. God, no. Do it, fellas. I can do it with my splash. Boss came out. Oh, they got me. Down I went. Random effect got me. As you can see, the loot threshold here on a non-delirium map is much lower. Much. No, my pump. No. Oh no. Well, I tried. 5 vines, probably never gonna. But I wanted to kind of do a normal one to emphasize how much easier they are, and then how much less loot they're gonna yield. So you see how much easier this boss is going down? See how much quicker it's dying? Look at its health. Huge difference in difficulty from delirium to non-delirium. But the payout is also tremendously different, as you saw. I earned somewhere between 20 and 50 chaos here at the cost of 10 to 20. Whereas the delirium cost me 30 to 50, the payout was in the hundreds. So it's not even close. But you got to work your way into the delirium more. But I wanted to just touch on those so that anyone who looks at delirium or wants a really easy way to farm the next league in 322, this kind of gives you a base, what to look at, how to set your stuff up, and I'll show you the way I have the tree set up. As I showed in my other video, I'll leave this up for a minute so people can see it. They can pause the video. They can kind of look at it in their own tree and analyze what I have and why. The basis of this is, again, delirium. Everything in here in some way enhances my delirium farm so that it is paying out as much as humanly possible. Blight pays a lot of mobs, boosts delirium. Harbinger, a lot of mobs, pays out a good amount, boosts delirium. Exarch shrines, as you saw, adds extra mobs, pays out, boosts delirium. Spirits, boost delirium. Everything boosts delirium in some way or adds an additional layer of currency earning. Light spawn, stilled fungus. Those two will give you extractors and enchanted light jewelry you can break down for additional oils, which is additional currency. So all of this leads back into a huge farm of currency that you can spend on. So that's pretty much it for this video. Just wanted to go over the delirium farm. I think that's about it. See you guys next time. If you enjoyed this, if you found it informative, hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate it. Take it easy.